Hello everyone and welcome to Motorcyclegear.com. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Parabolica 2 riding hoodie from REV'IT. Brand new for spring 2025 and in its second generation is the Parabolica 2 riding hoodie from REV'IT. If you are looking for casual hoodie styling with motorcycle safety, the Parabolica 2 definitely fits the bill. Taking a look at colors, there are three options available: a straightforward all black, a sand with minor black accents, and a burgundy red and gray with, again, minor black accents. Sizing is going to range from small to 3XL, and at roughly 6 foot, 215 pounds, I normally wear a size XL in REV'IT. Here in the Parabolica 2, I am wearing a size XL, and it does fit me as I would expect it to. Now keep in mind this is considered a regular fit, which means that it's not going to be too tight or too loose. My recommendation for sizing is going to be to get whatever size you normally wear in REV'IT or in most major European brands. Now if you're not familiar with REV'IT sizing, definitely hit up Motorcyclegear.com. We do have size charts and measurements on the website to help you find the right fit. If you do need additional assistance, definitely reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you figure it out and make sure you get a jacket that fits you as you want it to. Now, with that being said, thinking about the Parabolica 1 versus the Parabolica 2, the Parabolica 1 did run small. In that jacket, I did have to wear a double XL or a 2XL. Obviously here, as I mentioned, I'm only wearing a single XL, so this jacket definitely runs more true to size versus the original Parabolica 1. So if you are upgrading from the 1 to the 2, you don't have to size up to make it fit. One last thing to note, as of late, REV'IT has been a lot more true to size than in the past. They're still considered a European cut, definitely not an American cut quite yet, but they are definitely a little bit looser than they used to be in the past. Let's go ahead and dive into the details. Overall construction is going to be a combination of PWR fleece as well as polyester with a 1x1 rib. Now keep in mind that the Parabolica 2 is also DWR treated, which is going to be a sustainable water repellent finish. Now do keep in mind that this material is fully ventilated and fully breathable, and I would recommend this jacket for fall, spring, and milder summer. With that being said though, it's not going to flow as much air as, for example, PWR mesh. So when the temperatures do get to the high 80s, low 90s or above, I would definitely recommend going with a mesh jacket instead. Diving into the design, we do have a somewhat hidden REV'IT logo here right across the chest. If you look at it at a quick glance, it does look like a whole bunch of random dots, but if you look a little bit closer, you'll actually see REV'IT is hidden inside that design. Now the cool thing is it does look a little bit different on all three different colorways, but regardless of the color, I still do think it looks really good, and it is a good design choice. And then right below the logo here, you do have two hoodie style hand warmer pockets. They are going to be quite large. I do wear a size large glove for reference. You will notice my hand is all the way down here, and there's still a ton of pocket left over, so definitely a lot of room if you need to store things in your hoodie. They both have a zipper closure. Pretty much straightforward here. Obviously not waterproof zippers because it's not a waterproof jacket. And then they do have these little extenders here to make it a little bit easier to handle if you have your gloves on. And then moving down below the pocket here, we do have on the right hand side a small REV'IT logo. It does say engineered for riding. And then just below that, you will notice this part right here. It's going to be a elastic waistband. It has quite a bit of stretch to it. As you can see, it really goes quite wide, and it's very comfortable, very soft. Definitely a nice touch to the bottom of the jacket. Kind of an interesting part here is that on all three colorways, it is going to be the same black color. So whether you have the sand color, this gray and red, or gray and burgundy, or the all black, this will always be the same. Kind of a nice contrast on the sand and on this colorway, so I do like how that looks. And it is going to be different from the original Parabolica, which had more of a straight cut at the bottom, and it wasn't quite as comfortable or as stretchy as this. So in my opinion, this is a nice improvement on the Parabolica 2 versus the original. And then moving to the middle, we do have a fairly simple and straightforward zipper. Really no complaints here, except maybe that it doesn't have a zipper cover here at the bottom. But to be fair, it is a very flat zipper, and it is kind of tucked underneath in this channel here with these kind of pipes on the sides. So with these raised pipes lifted up, it should keep your zipper off your tank. And again, it is pretty flat and smooth, so I don't think you'll have any issues with scratching your tank. As we make our way up the zipper, Let me go ahead and pull the jacket down. You will notice two things. One, there is going to be a decently sized zipper pull tab. It does have these extenders as well, so if you have gloves on, that does make it a little bit easier to operate. And then as we get to the very top of the zipper, you will notice this cover here. Obviously, if it is zipped, the zipper could potentially irritate your neck. This cover keeps that from happening. It's nice and soft and obviously protective for you. Now, speaking of the neck, I do want to point out this collar. It is a fairly long or fairly tall collar. If you have it zipped up all the way, it'll pretty much cover your entire neck and get to right about your chin. So if you are a person who doesn't like the feeling of a tall or high collar, keep that in mind, as this is a much higher or taller collar than I am used to on most REV'IT jackets, or just most jackets in general. So just kind of be aware of that. It does have a little bit of a different feel to it. And then obviously right above that, we do have the hood. More on the hood later, but I will point out real quick that there are drawstrings here at the bottom, so you can adjust the tightness of the hood to make sure it fits as you like. And then let's go ahead and make our way to the sleeves here. On the left-hand sleeve, you are going to have another one of those REV'IT 3D logos. I've mentioned in multiple videos now that I really do like how these look and feel. A little bit of a raised 3D look to it, and it is going to be a solid logo. It is only on the left-hand side, but everything else outside of this logo is going to be symmetrical from right to left. Outside of this logo here, really not a whole lot going on the sleeves until you get down to the cuff here. At the cuff, you will notice that same elastic band that you have around the waist here at the cuff, so definitely very comfortable. As you have your hands inside, it's going to nicely go around your wrist or around your glove and really keep everything nice and secure. Now here's where this jacket differs from the Parabolica 1. On the Parabolica 1 here at the cuff, you had almost like an inner sleeve or an inner liner that had a thumb loop hole on it, so you'd kind of have your hands through and then have this liner go over your hands. I didn't really find that super comfortable. A lot of times for me, it bunched up inside my gloves. I didn't like how it felt, so a lot of times I actually curved it inward to keep it away from my gloves and away from my hands. So not sure if that was feedback that REV'IT received, but on this version, they decided to go away from that inner sleeve liner and instead went with a more simple and straightforward thumb loop here. It is going to be elastic, it is going to be stretchy, and I do like how this works a lot better than, again, that previous version on the Parabolica 1. So again, with the Parabolica 2, not a lot of extreme changes, but a lot of subtle changes that have improved the jacket overall. And then moving on to the back here, we do have a continuation of that REV'IT logo from the front. Here on the back though, there is not an actual REV'IT logo. It's just going to be the dots part of that graphic. But again, I do think it looks good and does tie in nicely with the front. You also have a nice break here from the burgundy red to the gray. Again, big fan of this colorway. It definitely looks good. Now moving up here to the top, we do have the hood. I did mention earlier there's a little bit more details to the hood, so go ahead and cover those right now. You will notice this massive reflective stripe. One, I think it looks nice in the fact that it matches pretty closely to the gray. But two, it's very long, which means that whether you have the hood on or off, or if the hood is folded, not folded, either way, there's enough reflective material to keep you visible in low light situations. So again, I'm a huge fan of reflective materials. Love seeing the fact that REV'IT put that here. Now looking at the hood, you can see right now it's kind of small and pinned down. That is going to be because of this button right here. The whole point of this button basically is this. One, if it is buttoned down, it keeps the hood compressed. What that means is when you're riding, it's not going to open up on you, become basically a parachute and just flap around in the wind. But two, when you get off the bike and you want to wear the hood, you unclip it, and now you have full access to the full length and size of the hood. That way you're comfortable, protected from the weather, all that good stuff. And then one last thing to point out on the back here at the bottom is going to be this elastic waistband, the same one that we saw obviously on the front. Because it is a elastic waistband and because this is a hoodie style riding jacket, there's actually not an extended back. It's going to be the same length in the front and the back, so do keep that in mind. And then jumping to the inside right off the bat, we are greeted with a comfortable and breathable liner. And in the liner right here in the middle, you are going to have the pocket for the optional level 2 back protector. Now in typical REV'IT fashion, it is going to have a very simple Velcro opening right here. And then on the inside of that opening, you will see this tag here that gives you the size and type of back protector. That way it takes all the guesswork out of getting the right one. And speaking of the armor, you are going to have level 1 armor included here at the shoulder as well as at the elbow. I'll go ahead and pull the armor out to show you. Very simple here, just a quick opening, and then you slide the armor out of this pocket. Now this armor is going to be C-Smart. I mentioned earlier it is level 1, and it is going to be T plus T minus. So very good armor. REV'IT's been using it for a while, works really well. It's extremely flexible, extremely comfortable, and obviously has a lot of airflow with all these perforations inside the material. Now, one thing to note about the armor, on the elbows, the armor is not adjustable. It is at one height, but I do think that it fits pretty well as far as proportionately to the size of the jacket, so I don't think you'll have any issues with the armor falling in the right place. And then other items to note on the inside of the jacket are going to be the short connection zipper here. This is obviously going to work with any REV'IT pants that have a short connection zipper, or you can utilize it with REV'IT's accessory, the Safeway belt, which basically turns any jeans or any pants with belt loops into a short connection zipper. Speaking of belt loops, you also do have these jeans loop hooks. Very simple design here. You have a button closure, elastic material, slide it through the hoops of your jeans, go ahead and click it closed, and now your jacket is connected to your jeans. Basically keeps your jacket from riding up, so nice feature there. And then obviously we do have the CE tag right here. As I mentioned earlier, this jacket is going to be CE AA rated. Now, one thing to point out about this jacket, just like on the original Parabolica 1, the Parabolica 2 has no internal pockets, so just keep that in mind. The Parabolica 2 riding hoodie from REV'IT is going to be both comfortable and protective, and overall it is an improvement over the original. If you are looking for that casual hoodie styling and comfort while still having motorcycle safety, the Parabolica 2 is definitely worth checking out. Alright, so that's going to be it for the Parabolica 2 riding hoodie from REV'IT. Be sure to visit Motorcyclegear.com. Hit us up in the comments down below via phone or email, as we are always here to help you out with your motorcycle gear needs. Thank you all for watching. Till next time.